Alrighty. Alright, so I finally finagled this thing in here, and you can see a couple band-aids that are starting to form, but I'll figure a solution out for them later. For now, I'm just kind of using this as a to prevent it from ripping more. There's a little piece of tape here. I don't know if you can see it closely, but I put a piece of tape here because it started to rip. This is on the verge of ripping. This clearly doesn't line up evenly, so I'm probably gonna have to slice this here and kind of draw a line first, and then blend it into this line here. This guy that I originally cut off, which I regret doing now, doesn't meet up perfectly anymore, but it's okay, it's pretty close. However, I was able to get this inside of there. You can kind of see how clean that looks right now. I'm happy with that. And I like this curve here, kind of goes boom, boom, boom. It's not an exact replica of this guy because this angles up and this angles down. So that's why this didn't fit as well as I wanted it to. So I had to make some adjustments. It's not going to be perfect. Remember, this is like you're trying to get as close as you can. So what I'm going to do now is I have one, or let me just tell you how I went about this. First thing I did was this. And then I started to attach the bottom here because I want to get that curve set. In addition to that, I started to carve inside of here a long ways so this can bend in if I need to. And if I have to go in there a little further to make more, carve some more pieces out so this can kind of bend more, I can do that because this does bend in a little bit. And I would do it on this side too. So there's some things you're gonna do after the fact that you have to be like, oh, I gotta bend this in more, I gotta do that. So you cross cut on the inside. Right here, oh, then after I did this, I glued the front. I just stuck my finger in there and held it until it was secure, which is why it's great to use a tacky glue. And then I just finished it on this side. I kind of worked it that way, and then I just worked it all the way on this side. And now I'm gonna connect. So you can see this is not connected yet. And so I'm just gonna connect these guys here, maybe just these four, wait till they dry, and then I'll bend it in, and then I'll try to connect it to this guy here. And then I'm kind of getting the shoe figured out. So I have my sides, my back, my front done. This eventually I do want to bend in, like bend in this way because it bends in. So I'm gonna have to work that out, but I have to cut first, and I have to kind of, I got to figure that one out. That's gonna be a little more problem. Here's a big gap, right? How would you fix that? One way I was thinking about was you can get a piece of paper from an old cut. You can do your best to cover that and glue it on, or another way, and I would try both to see what looks best. You could fold this in half, put it on the inside, and then now you can see there's a thickness here. Then so you would glue it down, and then you would get like another piece, size it, of course. I'm just gonna cut a little wedge, and then you would stick that wedge in here, and then you would just cut the rest off. Kind of like this. And that stuff can be done at the very end. I'm just showing you that those are options right now. So you can kind of see how it kind of fits in there. It's not the best solution, but it's better than a gap. And there's other ways around it. So for now, I'm just going to leave that. This is an area that I'm going to have a big gap here. This doesn't meet up as the way I wanted it to. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So once I glue this down, I'll tackle this bridge when I get there. And other than that, this is basically stage 2. And stage 3 is, again, the finishing touches and doing some final turns and twists. But again, if this rips, you know, there's ways around it. And we'll get into that into stage 3. For now, I'm going to start gluing this down. And then I'll stop the video. This seems to be the easiest way right there. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. I forgot. You can see this excess glue that I got on there. I'm just holding this down. There's you can find this in the paint aisle. It's called acetone. And what you can do is you just take a little, you dip a little on a paper towel, and it can take off the graphite, and it can also take off the glue residue. And I worked it on this side. I didn't get that little piece off, but I did get a bunch off, and it doesn't damage the paper. It's really nice. And that's what it's designed to do. It thins fiberglass resins, epoxy adhesives, and it dries fast. So it's kind of a nice little trick. Just, it's not great to breathe in, so make sure you wear, it's very flammable. Make sure you wear a mask. All right, I'm gonna stop the video. So you can kind of see how it's starting to come along. And again, all this other stuff, you can clean it up later on. Don't worry about it now.